Shane, you have preached, you have taught, you have inspired folks to understand that grace is not a gift to be clutched, but a gift that calls for a response of gratitude that moves into the world that looks like service and love. And I guess what I want to ask, while we stay on the sunny side of grace can't be earned or grace can't be worked for, do you believe that there's nevertheless something generative, something about responding in love and service that creates more space for receiving, for experiencing, for being in the flow of God's love?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that I'm not a huge fan of guilt or shame. I think guilt can be a good indicator that things are not quite right, but it's a terrible motivator. I think in the end, love and joy and the fruits of the Spirit have to be the fuel in our tank, and those come from the Spirit of God. And so I think of the folks that have done such transformative work in the world, like Mother Teresa, one of my great heroes and teachers. And at one point, this sort of starry-eyed journalist came up to Mother Teresa and said, "Mother Teresa, I couldn't do what you do if someone paid me $1 million. And she responded brilliantly. She said, you couldn't pay me $1 million to do it either. She said, I'd do it because it's what I'm made for. And in the end, I think what we see is the truth of Jesus is that we can gain the whole world and lose our soul. That there's a freedom in the lilies and the sparrows, that we are made to be free of this obsession with ourselves, with this obsession with our possessions, where the things we own begin to own us. And, where Mother Teresa says, the more we have, the less we become, the more we have to hide behind, and those things become a part of our identity. And so Jesus is freeing us of that. And so I believe Jesus didn't come to give us guilt to the fullest, but to give us life to the fullest. And we're settling for a lot of things that are short of abundant life and joy. And it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that we're happy all the time. Mother Teresa had a long loneliness in her soul. So did Dorothy Day and Jeremiah and so many of the people that I look to and think, man, they were near to God with their lives, but they didn't always feel that. And even Jesus on the cross is, my God, why have you forsaken me? So I think there is something to doubt and loneliness that we don't need to be ashamed of. But beyond all of that, like everywhere you go in India, there were these posters and signs that said, let us do small things with great love. She talked about joy all the time. She was known for her winsome kind of spirit, Mother Teresa. Over and over, she would do things that were beautifully marked by that joy. I remember one other reporter experience where this guy said, are you married, and which is a strange question to ask a nun, And Mother Teresa said, well, I am in love. Talking about Jesus, and she says, and sometimes my spouse can be so demanding. So there's that deep joy, I think, that comes out of a love relationship with Jesus. And that's what we want our young people to see, right? That this is, as it's been said, this is less of a theory and more of a love affair. And we've got to, I think, keep introducing people to a God that is personal and a God who even feels the long loneliness of the human condition. And that's what we see in Jesus so poignantly.